Welcome back everyone. So as my playtime of this game keeps increasing and getting bigger and bigger, I decided to go ahead and go back to my solo tips video and kind of update some of the information now that I've gotten to the higher levels and I've gotten to the higher difficulty tiers. And some of the information that I had on my older video is still relevant to the higher difficulties, but as some of the other information is outdated, so I decided to go ahead and do an updated video on it, so this way you guys can have all the info you need to go ahead and tackle the higher difficulties and have all the relevant information. So the first thing I want to kind of talk about is to be versatile. Now what I mean by that is when you're going into a mission, since we don't have anybody else and it is just ourselves, we're going to have to make sure that we have all the tools needed to complete a mission, meaning we're going to have some type of weapons to go ahead and take out large groups of enemies, as well as having weapons to go ahead and take out armored enemies, to clear nests, and so on. So being versatile when we are doing these missions is really important, because if we don't have all the tools that we need, there is no way we're going to be able to complete a mission, especially in the higher difficulty tiers, by ourselves. So just keep that in mind whenever you're going and taking on these missions, and especially before you actually drop in, to go ahead and put everything you need to tackle that mission, whether that be a defense, destroy eggs, escort, or whatever. So keeping kind of on the same topic of being versatile, the next thing I want to talk about is the railgun. The railgun is such a good and versatile weapon, being able to take out multiple enemies at a time, especially being able to take out the tougher, larger enemies, such as the Bio Titans, Chargers, the Hawks, and so on. It is a very good weapon that I think pretty much everybody should be running. Now the only downside to running the railgun is it is a level 20 weapon, so for those that are starting off the game and are only level 10s or so on, I would advise maybe using the auto cannon until you can actually get the railgun, but as soon as you can unlock it, go ahead and do so. You'll see a big improvement to how more quickly you can actually take down those armored enemies. Now one of the positives about the railgun is actually being able to one-shot the Bio Titan if you can time it right whenever he opens his mouth up. If you get a nicely timed charged shot in there, you will basically one-shot blow his head off and kill it, which is really insane thinking about a weapon that has 20 rounds that you can throw on your back, that is not a orbital or something like that, or an eagle strike. Just being able to do that is so versatile and so nice when you're actually solo playing and you don't have anybody else around you. Now quick tip on the railgun actually is if you go ahead and hold the reload button, you will actually see the prompt pop up to where you can turn the mode to unsafe, meaning the charge levels will go above maximum. Now if you actually hold it for too long, the weapon will explode, so be aware of that. But if you get your timing down right, you can put so much more damage out killing these enemies, especially on the chargers and stuff like that. You'll kill them a lot quicker in the unsafe mode, and you can actually kill multiple enemies in a straight line if you can actually line them up. Now something else that pairs really nicely with the railgun and pretty much anything else is actually the shield backpack. Now this thing says on the description that it blocks projectiles, but it does much more than that, and you guys will soon find out when you actually start running it. Now what this thing actually can do is it'll basically kind of give you an overshield, meaning if an enemy comes up and tries to melee attack you, it'll provide a shield over you that will actually block that attack so you won't get hit. So that when you're in solo play and you can get overrun really easily if you're not paying attention, having something like this on that gives you that extra layer of protection, especially against the automatons, is so helpful, and you will quickly see that you will be able to complete solo missions a lot faster while actually using the shield backpack because of those things I just said. Now if you guys do want to support me, the best way you can do that is by hitting the like and subscribe button. It lets me know you're enjoying these type of videos, and it lets YouTube know as well, which will actually push the video out to newer people that are unfamiliar with the channel. Now since we basically have a gun for armored enemies and we have a really nice overshield to give us more survivability, we need a weapon to take out a lot of enemies at a time, especially in big numbers. So that brings us to our next thing I want to talk about, which is running the breaker shotgun. Now pretty much any auto shotgun will work here, especially when you factor in the breaker shotgun. Now this thing allows us to basically go ahead and take out large packs of enemies, and even some of the more armored enemies as well, considering this does have light armor penetration, and it shoots so many pellets so we can get in between the cracks of armor and really do a lot of good damage. So like I said, it just is a very good weapon, especially considering that the railgun is only really a one-shot kind of single target weapon. This allows us to cover the weaknesses of that and allow us to do a lot more damage, especially when solo playing. We are, like I said, going to need a weapon to clear out packs really quickly, and this allows us to do so. So a really nice addition to those first two things I just said. Now I want to kind of talk about some stratagems. So I highly advise running either the orbital laser or the orbital rail cannon, I'm pretty sure it's called. Doing this will allow us to actually take out some tankier enemies more quickly, especially with the rail cannon. It pretty much one-shots Bile Titans and Chargers and so on. The only issue, it is a one-shot, so if there's multiple on the screen, this will only really help for one of them. Now, if you are experiencing multiple Bile Titans on your screen at once, or multiple anything, especially in the higher difficulties where that will be more frequent, running something like the Orbital Laser is really good because it'll do burn damage, consistent damage, and it'll last for a while. So if you're actually throwing it out and using the railgun on something like the Bile Titan, you can pretty much take out multiple of them before the Orbital Laser actually ends. So it is very good, but like I said, the railgun is actually really good as well, especially early on. Now this allows us to one-shot anything, so those two are really good. Just kind of see what mission you're going into, what difficulty, and if you want something to be more instant like the rail cannon to one-shot, or if you want to have something more prolonged to do constant damage like the laser cannon. Now, the next thing I actually noticed that really helped me in solo play was using enhancements. Now, using something like the stamina enhancements, where our stamina will be bigger and we will get the stamina regen quicker, or something like the radar enhancements, where our radar range will be larger, it really helps looking out and scouting for enemies, or allows us to traverse the map more quickly and run away from enemies without having to worry about our stamina depleting as quick. So definitely use the enhancements. You'll see a big improvement to your solo run-throughs, and it just helps overall. Now, I wasn't running enhancements for a while, and majority of people that I talked to that played solo playing weren't running it, and I advised them to actually throw it on, and they said that it helped them a lot using some of the higher tier enhancements. Definitely it will help you out, so make sure that you're keeping that in the back of your mind to upgrade your enhancements when you can. And like I said, use something like the stamina enhancements or radar enhancements. You will see a nice little bonus and improvement to your solo playing. Now, speaking of actually using your radar to scout for enemies, don't actually fight everything on the map. Now, you might be tempted to shoot everything you see, but in solo play, that is something you should not do. Since we are alone, majority of the time, you're not going to be able to do everything on the map, or kill every enemy you see. So kind of prioritize that, hey, this patrol or this little nest over here is way out of my main objective, so I probably shouldn't run all the way over there to do it. Now, doing so, you'll take a lot longer in missions, and if you get overrun, you're basically just going to die constantly. So like I said, don't shoot everything you see or fight everything you see. Prioritize what fights you want to take, because we are alone. Now, speaking of trying to finish the missions as quick as possible, usually when you're in a squad, you want to kind of land away from the objective and clear towards it, because you can get a majority of the map done before completing the main objective. But in solo play, that is the opposite. You actually want to land at the objective, and then if you can do anything else like the side objectives, or maybe the minor places of interest going towards the extraction, that's what you want to do. Because in majority of the time, if you land away from it, you're going to take way too long to actually get to the objective, and before you actually know it, you're going to run out of time before you complete the objective, unless you're very, very skilled. So I would say land at the objective and get it done, and then anything else you can do is a bonus. Because like I said, if we get overrun or we find ourselves fighting too many enemies, we're just going to fail the mission and the time is going to run out. So keep that in the back of your mind, that you want to finish as quick as possible, and to kind of land at the objectives first, the main objectives first, clear them out, and then anything else is an added bonus. The last thing I'm going to say basically is just like I said in the beginning, really see what missions you're going into and strategize based off of that. If you're going into defense missions, obviously you're going to want to run sentries. If you're going into something like an escort, you probably are going to want to run a few sentries too to help. But if you're going into something like a blitz and destroy, running sentries is just going to slow you down. So you want to run more like orbitals and eagles. So just really prioritize what you're going to be needing and what mission you're actually doing to complete it efficiently, and try not to take too much time in the mission. Since we are soloing, the main objective basically is to get the main objective done and then just complete and extract. I hope the video was enjoyable, and I hope you guys can go ahead and apply some of this info when you're running solo and then see an improvement. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night, depending on when you're watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.